Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and good morning, Bermuda. It's a pleasure to be here again so soon. I have previously expressed some concern about the danger of relying on year-old data to make informed decisions or opinions about what's going on in today's economy. In fact, yet another example of this was broadcast in recent days. So for the second time within a week, I am happy to be able to provide more current data that again provides a platform for economic optimism, again by the Department of Statistics, this time regarding the labor force survey. Most Bermudians had become accustomed to what the Royal Gazette recently described as an almost uninterrupted, decades-long upward trajectory that brought with it an increased equality of opportunity and social progress. And of course, a sense that prosperity for Bermudians was virtually inevitable. The past 6 years have forced us to revise that thinking. Therefore, systemic unemployment has been one of the most alarming aspects of Bermuda's Great Recession. But again, there is a reason for optimism. Last week, we reported an uptick in first quarter 2015 GDP by 3.7%. I can now share with you brighter figures on the unemployment front from this year's labor force survey. These new figures, based on data collected in May and June of this year, show the numbers of the unemployed fell during a comparative period from 2014 to 2015 by more than 28%. The actual unemployment rate dropped from 9% in 2014 to 7% in 2015. The government has been working hard to create an environment for greater business confidence and one in which inward investment would lead to projects that get Bermudians back to work. A breakdown of the figures shows unemployment among Bermudians has decreased year over year by more than 29%. Unemployment is down by more than 33% among black workers, while it is up by 1.28% among white workers. Youth unemployment fell from 29% to 23%. While the average number of hours worked decreased by 5%, the median income rose by 4.7% to $63,399 per annum, the highest level in many years. These are preliminary numbers, with a full report expected in October. We expect that large building projects, like the new hotel property in St. George's, will soon get underway. We are bringing the House of Assembly back for a special meeting on Monday to pass a measure that will move the process forward. This is good news. It indicates that we have turned Bermuda's economic momentum towards positive growth. But we also know that there are people, families, still stranded on the sidelines of this progress. And they tell us that we've got to keep the pedal to the metal, keep pushing forward to create new jobs, new opportunities for more and more Bermudians. This continues to be our mission. And that's the end of my prepared statements, and I'll be happy to try to answer your questions.
You mentioned, Minister, the increase in unemployment. Is it sustainable increased employment, or do these figures include part-time employment?
And these are full-time numbers. I think you should get a mic so people can hear what you're saying.
All right.
Well, there are other people other than you, Gary. So everybody wants to hear what you have to say, so that they know that I'm not answering questions put to me by a disembodied person. Any other questions while he's thinking about that? Did I answer your question, incidentally? Yes, I did answer your question.
You didn't actually. I asked you whether this was part-time employment or full-time employment, and whether it's sustainable, increased employment.
Well, its sustainability it can only be borne out by fact. We think it is a symptom of an improving economy. I think the figures are for full-time jobs, but as we all know, Bermuda consists of a place where there's this sort of hustle economy. A lot of people have hustles, side jobs, part-time jobs, and they are much harder to measure. A lot of folks had a full-time job and part-time jobs at night, and the full-time job disappeared, and the part-time job became the full-time job to keep them going. So these are the kind of things that have happened during the last recession. But whether it's sustainable, as it remains to be proven, but we think it's, with all the other data points that we have, we think that this shows that the economy is in fact turning around.
So what percentage of this would you say is full-time employment and not part-time?
These are for full-time jobs.
You
Yeah.
mentioned as well that the white workers' employment is up 1.28%, but unemployment is down by more than 33% among black workers, while it's up by 1.28% for white workers. How much is it up for black workers?
The data shows that unemployment is down for black workers by 33%.
It's down. Do you have any idea how much it's increased?
Well, I just said it's down, so how could it increase if it's down? Unemployment, you mean how much has employment increased?
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Employment increased for black workers.
I think there are numbers in there. I'm not, when you look at the report, those numbers might be in there. You might think they will be in there. But I'm addressing the unemployment numbers.
How much of a role, I don't know if you were able to ascertain from the research, how much of a role the arrival of America's Cup here has played in this increased unemployment? And the increased employment, sorry?
I don't think that's clear yet. Although anecdotally, we know of jobs that are being created. I thought I heard on the media the other day somebody mentioned about that. I don't know what those numbers are, but I think that is just starting to ramp up. So as we go forward, we'll see more of an impact of that.
Would you be able to say what sectors we're seeing this increased employment most?
I really can't. I don't think that's in here. Maybe in the full survey that will be included, but I can't answer that question right now.
Any other members of the press?
Minister, you mentioned that you're having a special sitting on the House on Monday to cross the St. George's.
Yeah.
Is there any, will the Morgan's Point and the hotel in Devonshire, will those be included in this?
No.
Those needles haven't moved yet.
We've already put a lot of legislation through the House for Morgan's Point. Particularly sort of reparceling the land and that sort of thing. And so that project is moving forward. The legislation that we're looking at on Monday is specific to St. George's.
Is this a further indication that we are definitely going to see sod turned in St. George's?
Yes.
Any idea how soon?
I think you should ask Minister Crockwell that. He's closer to it.
Cabinet
Surely, but I think that I think we're expecting ground to be broken before the end of 2015.
And how much employment do you see that project creating?
I'm not sure. I can't answer that question. I try not to answer questions that I don't know. Anybody else?
I have a quick question. From your stats here, it shows employment for Bermudians. Is there any data that shows how many jobs or the increasing of jobs for non-Bermudians? And are there any jobs that non-Bermudians hold that could actually be qualified in the statistics for that Bermudians could actually hold that would increase employment for Bermudians?
When you get the data pack, you will see that there's information on employment for Bermudians, non-Bermudians, spouses of Bermudians. It certainly does not indicate any jobs that could be held by Bermudians that are being held by non-Bermudians. I know that's not part of the data, but you can see the data as it relates to employment by non-Bermudians versus Bermudians and spouses of Bermudians, etc. That's all part of the data pack.
And has there been any increase shown for employment of non-Bermudians?
I don't have that information in front of me, but it would be in that data pack that you're going to get.
Any other questions?
Could the increase in employment be related to the decrease in population? And as a result of the decreased population, the figures of employed people is reflecting more positively?
Well, there has been a slight decline in the labor force, the workforce, and I think most of that has to do with, we think most of that has to do with people, a lot of people retiring, and people leaving the workforce for one reason or the other. But certainly there's been no increase in the overall size of the workforce. And I mean, as an economic objective, we think that the workforce has to increase in size. Whether we can materialize more Bermudians or not, it will certainly be good for the economy if the population of Bermuda is increased, because there's a direct relationship between GDP growth and population. But this data does not show an increase in population or an increase in the workforce.
We recently heard from the Seniors Advocacy Group Age Concern that measures that are being implemented or services that are being removed or curtailed are affecting their sector of the community far more than it is affecting younger people per se. One of the things that they spoke about was age discrimination when it comes to employment, and I know this is separate and apart from this.
You're making a sharp right turn. Right?
Government perhaps looking at addressing the question of increasing the level of the retirement age?
Well, retirement age is, there's a retirement age in government, okay? In the private sector, there's no mandated retirement age. And I'm saying that there's retirement age in government, but I'm standing in front of you and I'm past retirement age, but I'm still working very hard. So I guess that doesn't apply to politicians. But there's only a mandated retirement age in government. In the private sector, it depends on your employer. Some people stay on after 65. A lot of the retirement, the retirement situation has to do with the setup of pension funds. But we have heard comments and representations about age discrimination, and certainly it's something that government is looking at.